Hello there, welcome to another talk. And today's talk is called Forgive Others Instead of Demonizing Others, and you'll feel a whole lot better. Now, what is it that makes us demonize others? Well, it's trauma. You know, I talk about it all the time. We have unconscious trauma. The unconscious self is what drives the conscious self and the conscious mind. The subconscious mind dictates the conscious mind's experience. So with addictions and things that we get overexcited about, that's the trauma. And what the unconscious self is trying to do is it's trying to cling itself to something. And this relates to narcissism as well. It's like it's the inner narcissist that perceives the external narcissist and demonizes. But I call it the angelic signs. Angelic signs is what I give name to those moments when you're about to demonize someone. And at that moment, right, it's angelic. Because at that moment, that's the perfect opportunity for you to be forgiving, non-judgmental. Feel that compassion for that person. Empathy, put yourself in that other person's position. Right? So, you know, that's a perfect opportunity for that. So that's why this talk is called Forgive Others instead of Demonizing Others, and you will feel a whole lot better, you know? Like my path, for example, I started from an unexpected spiritual awakening, just in case you're new to my stuff. At the age of 24, I'm 34 this year, and I was a totally different kind of person, you know? I would blame the external world for the way I was. And the problem and the solution is within yourself. You see? And I had an unexpected spiritual awakening, and the awakening came because I had enough. I had it. And for the first time in my life, I was authentic. Now, and then what I started to do, I started to go on a within path of this forgiving path within myself, and then that manifests in external forgiveness and compassion, love and compassion. You see? See, unconditional love is not a given, it's something which you have to develop. You see? So, to develop this, it starts with yourself. You have to start loving yourself. Because love is a projection of love to something else or someone else. And if your cup is only a little bit full, you don't have anything to give. You see? So it starts within you. And then when you get to a certain level where you got so much love and it's pouring out of you. And this is how we develop true forgiveness. Right? Sometimes someone will do you wrong and you won't really feel like you want to forgive them. At that moment, be compassionate with yourself. Forgive yourself for that. And as you move on, as you love yourself more and more, you'll feel yourself having more compassion. You'll start to put yourself in their shoes. You'll have this compassion, love and compassion for them. And what you're developing is unconditional love. But what's happened is you've loved yourself. Like I say, before my awakening, I didn't like myself, hated myself, in fact. And now, the awakening, before I knew what shadow work was invented by Carl Jung, a psychiatrist or psychologist. And shadow work is when you consciously stare into your own reactions, because that's your trauma. So I didn't invent it. Like my mum was recently having a conversation with my father on the phone, and he was saying something, and she said, "Well, that's a reflection of you," and he said, "Oh, that's Sean's rubbish," or something. And it's not my rubbish. That came from Carl Jung. You see, but I was perceiving that it was all a reflection through the awakening before I knew what shadow work was, before I knew any of that. But it's true, you can only perceive the situation or person based on who you are. We don't see things and people as they are. We see things, situations, and people as we are. So when we feel negative towards someone, that is an unconscious trauma. There's so many psychiatrists and doctors talking about this. This has been proven in the HeartMath Institute and also German New Medicine, where they proved that all illness comes from conflict shocks, which is trauma. And it can hide itself in part of your body. This is why inner body meditation is important as well. Meditation in general. But inner body meditation can actually heal these parts that hide themselves into the body. But also another important thing to do is pay attention to your reactions, right? And what you're doing every time you're doing this, just feel how your body feels. And what you're tapping into, this is an ascension hack and a healing hack, and you're hacking into the unconscious trauma which made you react in the first place. This is, everything that I share, I don't charge an actual fee for what I do. People can give a donation if they want. But everything is on my website, I don't create courses or something, everything's on my website and my talks. But yeah, when you feel that reaction, that is an unconscious trauma. These traumas go, that's why people get heart problems and all different kind of illnesses. These blockages block the heart chakra. The heart chakra is the doorway, the portal into your infinite divine self. So you can heal this simply by paying attention to everyday life. Pay attention to your negative reactions. At that moment, your way to react, feel yourself changing that energy into being non-judgmental, compassionate, and you're creating a different kind of way of reacting. And I think it might be 21 days if you do something, and I think it becomes part of like a habit. And so that's been my path. The path, obviously, when you have a spiritual awakening, you're interacting with the higher self, and that's guiding you through the process. And I'm just sharing it so other people can go on this too, because that's why I had the spiritual awakening. I had it because I chose to have it. I had enough one day. But because you've got to choose yourself to be chosen. Slavery is a choice. But it's all about, it's all about me sharing this, and that's what we're going through just now. We're going through a mass global awakening. That's why they're trying to do what they're doing. I'm not allowed to talk about that, but I don't need to talk about whatever's going on in the world, because the real issue is this dis-ease that's going on, this traumas, because psychiatrists on the internet have already said that the people that run the world are traumatized children. Of course they are. Look at the way they behave. Look at the way that YouTube and others censor. I'm not allowed to talk about anything political. That's, come on, It's so childish to behave that way. It's so insecure to behave that way. It's so narcissistic. But that's why I talk about narcissism and how to heal it. That it's the inner narcissist that perceives the external narcissist, because that, I believe, that is the core issues on the planet. I believe the core issues is the trauma. So it's all about healing that. And pay attention, when you perceive the external narcissist, that means you're the narcissist. Because calling someone a narcissist is narcissistic abuse. You're demonizing that person, that's narcissistic abuse. As I once saw a psychiatrist say on YouTube, narcissists bring you down to bring themselves up. So pay attention when you're doing all this stuff. You're being narcissistic. But no one says that. But it's true. That's what you're doing. Maybe I invented the inner narcissist myself. I have saw some psychiatrists talking about stuff like that we perceive what we are. That's so rational to understand that. Like I say, you can only love a person based on your love within you. And the same with your perceptions of other people. So when you have an ill perception, a bad perception, feel how you feel, and that's the unconscious trauma, and that's how you heal it, by paying attention to it. What happens when you feel it? It's revealed itself to you, and then you heal. You see? Simply by just being aware of it and feeling it. I use mindfulness meditation all the time. Mindfulness meditation is merely just being present and paying attention to your reactions. Meditating upon it, and you're getting to the core issue. Thus, healing it. That's what happens when you're aware of these things. You heal it, naturally heal it. And through this, you develop love for yourself, forgiveness. And then you get to a level where you start to feel more compassionate and empathic towards others as well. And like I said earlier in this talk, that's how we develop true unconditional love. We have to develop this so that we learn what unconditional love is all about, so that we go through the process. But I'm just going to leave it there. For latest updates, talks, news, research, songs, poems, much more, please do check my website. I post there daily at www.lovelightfamily.com. Thank you.